Hey guys, ZeroMagnumX here with a deck update. I spread it out because it's pretty much the same aside from minor changes. I'm going to go over each card and then explain why select cards are in it. Okay. First up, 2 Light and Darkness, 2 Raza, 2 Thestalos, 1 Treeborn, 2 of Obelisk, and I'll get into further discussion about him in a bit. 3 Caius, only 1 Battle Fader, 1 Gores, 2 Soul Exchange right there, 3 Substitutes, 3 Swap Frog, 3 Ronin Totem, 2 Econ, 3 Dupe Frog, Cold Wave, Giant Trunade, Heavy Storm, Mystical Space Typhoon, a Solemn Judgment, 2 Dark Bribe, 2 Starlight Road, Torrential Mirror Force, and then Agus. Okay, in the last form of this deck, I was running 2 Agus and 3 Bribe. I dropped those down because some of the point behind Bribe and Agus was to stop, big destruction cards. That's why I put these in here. It gives me another card to use too, either as a tribute or just to have on the field as a beat stick, things like that. And yes, I'm referring to Stardust. Oh my gosh, he's using Stardust as a trade or tribute bait. Yeah, because it's Monarchs. And Stardust Dragon, when he comes out, doesn't come back. So that's something huge to consider. Plus, I think, but I doubt it. I think you might be able to chain this to Light and Darkness Dragon's Destroy Your Field card ability. I'm not entirely sure. So I'd have to check the rollings on that. You just have to make sure that Light and Darkness Dragon wasn't negated. Okay, let's start with what most of you probably saw in Shock Threat. Battle Fader at 1. Okay, this is Frog Monarchs. The idea is to get to your frog strategy fast. When you're using Battle Fader, as good of a card as he is, he's there and might just sit. Especially if you don't tribute him off. I mean, that's a real problem, I think. It's a great card, but I'd only ever run it at 1 or 2. I think 3 is personally too much. Gore's for Monarchs specifically gives you a token that might be higher attack, or gives you, or rather lower attack, or gives you Gore's with a higher token, and either a tribute fodder for your Monarchs, for Light and Darkness. I mean, you take, like, I don't know, 1500, 1900, whatever, you drop a Gore's, get the token, next turn you lay this down. Your opponent's hurting at that point. I'm really trying to get rid of this card, because it takes him to reduce his attack 4 times before he's actually killable. Well, 3 in most cases, but still, that's 3 effects your opponent has to waste. And then you nuke the field, and you would get Gore's back. So it's pretty mean. Okay, next up. Obelisk at 2. You might think it's too much, but believe me when I say with this build, he comes out easy as cake. Especially with 3 Ronin Totems, his effect is reusable. It's wonderful. If your opponent has nothing to negate your destruction abilities, and you slap him down because he can't be negated whenever he's summoned, and card effects can't be used when he's summoned, just a wonderful card. With this guy, you can use his effect pretty much over and over again. You've got enough fodder. And with Obelisk on the field, especially when you drop a Cold Wave, it's almost over for your opponent at that point. Because the deck works wonderfully with a lot of monsters and not so much spells and traps, I think that's a must. This is one of the few decks I've not ran Threatening Roar in, because Dupe Frog pretty much makes it so your opponent cannot attack you. So he's like an infinite Threatening Roar in a sense. What else? I guess the enemy controllers are pretty good too. I have yet to really be able to use them during the standby phase, but I've seen it used a lot, and it's a wonderful strategy. because it just makes Light and Darkness dragons like that if you got them in hand, or even Obelisk if you have a third monster on the field. And Treeborn comes back, so that's really good. What else? That's pretty much it. The extra deck kind of changed, and the side deck's just set up for the meta. I can go over them briefly. Oh, that's just a deck box I colored. I'll show you guys. It's actually blue. Sorry if it looks like black. It's a dark blue with gold. That's my cheesy can't draw artwork there. Go ahead and laugh. I don't care. But I tried drawing Millennium Eyes. Only some of them turned out well. Because if you look at the reason I added the ones on the bottom and I took a little bit less time than them is because it looks like a face with the key in the middle. I don't know. I drew it to be like a key of victory kind of thing. I'm strange. Don't ask. But then lightning bolts on the side look pretty cool. They turned out well. I used a gel pen. They work okay, but as you can see, they're a little bit shoddy too. That was just something for fun because I don't really have access to decals. But as far as these go, sorry, the rubber band's fighting with me. Okay, I'll do it right here. Okay, Cyber Dragons. Creature swap at 3. Especially if you give them a frog. That's in there just for now. I don't know what else I'm going to put in its place. I have some ideas. Pot of Avarice. I side my 2 Book of Moon. This is for those who are destruction happy. Here's my brain control. And my mind control for those who are tuner happy. And then my 2 bottomless I side. So that's a side deck. It'll do okay for the meta. But I mean, the main deck, I kind of construct my main decks to handle most of the decks in the current game. And this seems to hold up really well. The Infernity matchup is really the only thing it's got some problems with, I've noticed. But if I get the right cards, Infernities are really no problem. Unless they synchro out Stardust, then I have some troubles. But aside from that, not really. Especially Cold Wave and Obelisk. I mean, this deck can easily pull out second turn Obelisks. So it's not too bad. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had Obelisk out second turn after simply setting a frog and then going to town, either drawing in a swap frog or substitute or something like that after having a monster to simply tribute. It's wonderful. Okay guys, well, that's the deck. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. Comment, rate, subscribe. Share your thoughts with me, and I'll talk to you later. I just wanted to bring one point up before I go. I've ran Monarchs for about, I want to say 4 or 5 years now. So I know my way around the deck pretty well because I've tried a lot of different forms of it. If you look at some of my other videos, you'll see that. And my other versions got trashed versus Black Queens. I think this deck can handle them though. Okay, well, that's all. And I hope I didn't annoy you too much or whatever. Alright guys, hope you like the deck. ZeroMagnumX out. Good night YouTube. Peace.